largest troop surrender in Russian history. I don't know what is happening in this war, but we Indians are very, very excited to know, like, will this war come to an end or not? Because Ukraine and Russia war is going on from 2020s and it has still not come to an end. But before that, like, hi guys, I am Parbram.
I am Archie.
And we want this war to be over, and I think so America is trying their hell loose, like they're making sure that this war should come to an end.
True, I am also very excited to see, like, I have never seen any troops or anybody surrender in the war, and personally, I also want this war to be end.
Actually, and the thing is, like, because if Ukraine loses, then Russia will, go hell on all the other countries also. But I think so if Ukraine wins or there is a stalemate, then I think so there will be peace in this world. So let's watch this
Video.
We'll cover some of the answers to that question throughout the video. However, perhaps the biggest answer is that Ukraine has set up a project designed to enable Russia's soldiers to submit themselves for capture, no matter where they are on the front lines.
Oh.
That program is called I Want to Live, and it's one of the many
It's a
examples.
program?
Oh, very smart program. So Ukraine has a program for Russians. So like if the Russian soldier is tired for all this and they are like I want to live, they want to survive. So they can just go to Ukraine and say that I want to live, and then they will take, I think so, and they will give them a good life. That's
Wow,
nice.
that's actually nice.
Because I've met one friend in Vietnam, and he was he was avoiding this war.
Okay.
So he was one of the lucky ones. So he was able to fly to Vietnam, and he's staying there. But he's like, most of the people there, they don't want to fight the war.
Creativity that Ukraine has showcased ever since Putin started his expansionist war. I Want to Live makes a very attractive offer to a Russian soldier who wants to get out of the war.
Actually, very
You
attractive.
can visit the I Want to Live project on its own
Wow.
website, where
There's
you'll
a
immediately
website
see
properly
that
for
there's
that.
multiple lines of communication that a Russian soldier could open up with the program. Among those lines is a chatbot.
Even the
available.
name is I Want to Live. So like, if you're not choosing this, then you're saying I want to die.
I wonder that. Irony.
Or directly on the website, along with a link to a Telegram channel and a contact us
Telegram
page
channel
that a
also?
soldier can use to send
Wow.
messages to their potential Ukrainian captors.
Because Telegram is the best
Therein
for
lies the
hiding things.
genius of the entire concept. Ukraine isn't only offering peaceful surrender to Russia's forces, it's also making it as easy as possible for Putin's
Actually.
soldiers to throw in the towel. All it takes is a quick message and the wheels are set in motion. I Want to Live also makes plenty of promises to the surrendering soldiers, with full compliance with the Geneva Conventions on the treatment of prisoners being front and centre.
Oh, wow.
That treatment alone is better than what many of Russia's soldiers receive in their own
Oh.
military, making surrender an even more enticing proposition.
Wow, of
The
course.
soldiers are also
Nice.
promised detention in decent condition, along with 3 meals daily,
Wow.
medical care, and the ability to contact their families.
It's better than what most
Sensationalistic,
Indians are
though
living.
not necessarily untrue, reports in December have claimed that some Russian troops are so hungry that they've plotted to eat their comrades, which tells you what you need to know
What?
about the food situation for Russia's military in Ukraine. It's not good. And I Want to Live
They're
takes
making me
advantage of the fact. The program also
These-
offers the
such
captured
good
soldiers
things
a
are provided
voluntary
to
route
them.
back into Russia by way of prisoner exchange programs, or if the soldier prefers, an opportunity to seek shelter in Ukraine or another European country once the war is over. In other words, some Russians are not only surrendering, but they're surrendering so hard that they escape Putin's clutches altogether. In fact, it was I Want to Live that publicized the data that United 24 Media shared in a Telegram post that highlights the growing trend towards surrender among Putin's fighting forces.
Oh no.
The number of Russians surrendering is increasing year after year. In 2025 alone, more Russian servicemen were captured than in 2022 and 2023
Oh,
combined,
wow.
the Telegram statement read. On average, 60 to 90 Russian armed forces servicemen surrender
Weekly.
weekly, reaching 350 per week in August 2024.
Oh.
Since June 2023, Russian soldiers have consistently been captured more often than Ukrainian servicemen in Russian captivity.
That's too much. 100 per week.
Exactly.
Data. And there's plenty more where that came from. Some of the numbers shared by the project reveal that what were
Yeah,
previously
plenty more.
rumours about the state of Russia's military are actually true. We'll start with the demographic data. According to United 24 Media, the overwhelming majority of those captured, around 83%, are rank and file soldiers. These are typically going to be infantry and other low-ranking soldiers whose jobs will usually be to charge headfirst at Ukraine's drones
yes,
while
of
desperately
course.
hoping that they might survive. Only
they will
13%
be
of those
killed
captured were
first time.
non-commissioned
Exactly.
officers, with a minuscule 3% being officers. Not all of the soldiers will have volunteered to be captured, by the way. So what we're seeing here is that Russia rarely places officers in a position to get captured, instead preferring to let the cannon fodder, use an unsympathetic but not inaccurate term, put themselves in Ukraine's firing lines. It gets more interesting. A surprising number of the captured soldiers don't come from Russia. About 7% of the 10,000 captured, which amounts to around 700, have been identified as foreign mercenaries
Foreign
contracted
Whoa.
from 40 different countries. Between 2 and 3 new foreign fighters are being discovered weekly.
Oh, wow.
United 24 media
But
adds.
from which country?
Contract soldiers in
Exactly.
general
Who's
make up a
supporting
large
Russia?
portion of the capture numbers. About 76% of those captured are contract soldiers, many of whom have come from Russia's prisons or private military companies. Mobilized
There is
individuals
contract
account
for
for
this also?
19% of the
Prison-
captures, and
What?
conscripts
What?
who Putin claimed would not be sent into battle when he started his war make up about 5% of the captures. It looks like Putin was lying. If you have
Oh my
legs and you can
God.
hold a gun, you're good enough to die in Ukraine. In interviews with captured soldiers, Ukraine has also discovered that Russia engages in deceitful and sometimes coercive campaigns to recruit soldiers. Furthermore, many of those soldiers have criminal backgrounds or histories that would otherwise make them vulnerable to lucrative contracts that the Kremlin waves in their faces.
Yeah.
So they are
Almost
making
a quarter of the
criminals
10,000 captured
army
soldiers
men.
reported
That's
that they
wrong.
were coerced or misled into joining Russia's military.
Hmm.
That alone is revealing. It tells us that about 1 in 4 Russian soldiers really don't want to be where they are because they were forced to be there or lied to about where they were going.
Oh.
For a leader who demands unquestioning loyalty from his soldiers,
I don't understand. How can you be lied about this? Like you are giving a gun to the person, and the person is taking the gun, and you are told to stand at the border, and then they're like, "Oh, I didn't know this was my work." How?
True.
Putin certainly seems to be keen on giving them as many reasons they can find to abandon his cause, starting with hiring them when they don't even want to be part of that cause. Putin also favours the criminally inclined, with 40% of those captured having criminal records for offences that range from
40%.
theft, assault, drug-related offences to homicide. Around 38% of the captured soldiers were unemployed before they found their way into the
Oh,
Russian
you want
military.
money? Take the gun.
30% hadn't completed high school, and only 7% held higher education
Oh,
degrees.
wow.
We're starting to get a picture of the Russian
Okay, the
recruitment
most
strategy,
of the soldiers
using
are either
coercion and
unemployed
lies.
or
The
they are
strategy is
Recruiting
simple,
what could
get
be
anybody.
considered among the most vulnerable in Russian society. He focuses on the poorly educated, perhaps because he believes that this segment of people is more likely to sign up
Yes,
to the
they
rubles
will.
because they won't be able to earn anything like what the Russian
Of
military
course.
offers any other way. As for criminals, they have the choice of staying in jail or heading to Ukraine, and it implies a lot about Russia's correctional facilities that so many are choosing Ukraine.
Wow.
Then there are the sick. Ukrainian officials say hundreds of those captured also suffer from chronic health conditions, including
Oh
HIV,
my
AIDS,
God.
tuberculosis, diabetes, and mental illnesses. United 24
Such
Media
health
report.
conditions. How can they?
We
So
mentioned
they are
earlier that
giving guns to people who are mentally ill. So that is so strange because they can even kill you guys or something. Russia is like taking everybody in. They just want
Exactly.
everybody to join the war because they are so desperate.
Exactly, and the other side of it, that they are using those people who are eventually going to die through a disease.
Yeah.
This is also wrong.
these statistics confirm a lot of past rumours about reports of the Russian military. For instance, the Telegraph reported back in September 2025 that Dmytro Zhmylo of the Ukrainian Security and Cooperation Center had revealed
Meat
that
grinder.
Russia was using 6 soldiers to assault the embattled city of Pokrovsk. Those
That's
soldiers
so
often
wrong.
have the diseases mentioned in the I Want to Live provided figures, and they're even forced to wear armbands that identify them as, for want of a better word, infected soldiers that Russia can use as cannon fodder in its assaults. The infected units are equipped similarly to other Russian military units. In fact, their level of provision is
This is
identical and quite low,
wrong.
Milo
Very
told
bad.
the Telegraph in September.
On so
adding,
many levels.
The only difference from the healthy military personnel of the Russian Federation is the various markings of the infected, namely the presence of special bandages. As for the
Oh.
undereducated that Putin's recruiters seem to target, their inclusion in such high numbers in the capture figures is indicative of what the BBC called Russia's transformation of war into a social ladder. In January 2025, the outlet noted that financial incentives have been Russia's main recruitment tool. Recruits at the time were being offered advance payments that were 450% higher than they had been previously, along with wages up to 600% higher than the
What
average
are
Russian
they
income.
doing?
That's a pretty tempting carrot on the end of the Russian
Actually, and I
stick.
think so this
Putin just doesn't
will,
tell those on
tempt
the lower
people to
rungs of
join in.
Russia's
It
social
will.
ladder that the stick tends to lead them into the path of Ukraine's drones. Russia's leader completes the deception by positioning service in the Russian military as the chance for the soldiers to take their place among the elite of the country's society. For both the undereducated and criminal elements that make up such huge portions of Ukraine's reported captures, that's a very tempting proposition. We will certainly continue to rely on such people in the future. They are the true, genuine, and authentic
they
elite
are
and pride of
true.
the country, the BBC reports Putin is saying in December 2024. Is it any wonder why so many who fall into the categories we've covered earlier sign up? When your alternative is life in near or abject poverty,
actually,
a
that
Russian
is the
prison
case.
cell, or a slow death due to a disease, A massive payday and the promise of being one of the elites of Russian society is huge.
Oh.
It's also likely a lie, as demonstrated by the fact that 1.22 million of Russia's soldiers have become casualties of Putin's war, including the 10,000 or so Ukraine reports that it's captured.
Oh,
You can't
wow.
become elite when you have a bullet in your head or you've been blown up by a Ukrainian drone, after all. We also touched on Russia's use of foreign fighters.
And how everybody believes, they might survive more. And if they survive
Exactly.
for 10 months or 1 year, then they will get a huge package. Because, like, if, for example, if a Russian guy is earning 10,000, so 600% more is like, 60,000, 70,000. And
Too
that is
much.
too big of a jump for anybody. So they will just agree to it.
Exactly.
Seems that Putin is more than
luring
happy
them.
to leave those foreign fighters, along with injured soldiers, out to dry once he's used them for his purposes. United 24 media reports that the data shared indicates that Russia tends to prioritize ethnic Russians who have only been in captivity for a short period and have no serious injuries when arranging prisoner exchanges. The wounded aren't worth the effort for Putin, as they can't be sent back to the front lines. And if that seems like a harsh assessment, United 24 media says that Ukrainian officials have reported that at least 237 prisoners of war, or POWs, who have returned to Russia have ended up dying or have been reported missing in Ukraine after being redeployed. Another 4 have been captured for a second time, suggesting a consistent pattern of Russia taking back only its healthy-ish soldiers.
Oh, they
and
only
then
take
sending
back
them
their healthy
out to die.
soldiers.
As for the foreign fighters, they seem to have little chance of returning to Russia, even if they wanted to. And that offers a perfect example of what Putin really thinks about the soldiers from outside of Russia who are signing up for his war. As Australia's ABC News reported in December, Russia has been working hard to get these foreign
But
fighters
who
to
is
sign
joining
up.
them?
It's using social media campaigns, offering the same types of massive pay available to contract soldiers in Russia, and even dangling
Social
the
media
prospect of Russian
campaigns. Oh my
citizenship
God.
in front of foreign fighters.
Oh, wow.
The end of 2025 has seen Russia try to
I
close
don't
a
know why are they not trying it in India. I'm
Very big
100%
question.
sure a lot of Indians will join this.
And exactly, and Indians are actually so much devoted towards the country that be it anything, they won't leave the borders.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, how a lot of Indians also join Indian military due to that only.
They
Because it's a government job, they get good money. That's why they join it. But if they get 6 times more money, so 100% more, a lot of people will join in and they would like to fight for Russia. And they will like say, Mother Russia will save you. They will do everything.
Exactly. Also, the unemployment problem will decrease in India.
I think so Russia should try, Pakistan, Bangladesh, India and go for the Dubai, Saudi Arabia model.
It should.
And, take our people and for wars. Because a lot of people are very excited to fight for Russia.
growing manpower gap with this foreign recruitment. ABC News reports that defense tech company Open Minds says that a third of the contract announcements the Russian government now posts is aimed at foreign people. The number of those posts hit around 4,500 per month by mid-2025, having previously hovered around the 100 mark a year and a half before. That tells us a lot
need
about
more.
Putin's manpower situation. His own citizens are starting to wise up to what really awaits them in Ukraine, or there simply aren't enough ethnic Russians left for Putin to churn through, at least from the categories of people that Russian recruiters like to target. So foreign fighters it is. And those foreigners are in for a rude awakening once they reach Ukraine. Russia's refusal to take them back in prisoner exchanges is a blessing when compared to the fates that have befallen other non-Russian soldiers in the country's military. 3 squares, a bed and the ability to call home is heaven compared to becoming meat for the meat grinder. According to a January 12th report in The Telegraph, Russia has now taken to press ganging African people into becoming part of the Russian military, at which point they
now
are
they're
sent on
bringing
kamikaze
Africans.
missions. According to Ukraine's
Somalis
ambassador
or
in
the
South
gang
Africa,
wars
ones.
Alexander Sherba, Russia's treatment of its South African contract soldiers is indicative of Putin's disdain for all of the soldiers that Russia hires from the continent. There might be all kinds of charm offensives on the African continent, but once an African person comes to this war, they just become meat for the meat grinder, Sherba
True
says,
said.
adding that Russia looks at Africa through imperial eyes. In other words, Africa is little more than a resource to be exploited from Putin's perspective.
They look down
And
on
that may
them.
make Russia even more willing to lie to get what it wants in the form of more contract soldiers from the continent. Those soldiers have little chance of receiving the many rewards that Russia offers them, meaning capture by Ukraine is often their best way out. This imperialistic attitude exists inside the Russian military as much as it does in the country's upper echelons. The Telegraph says that one video published on January 11th shows a group of African soldiers singing a song in their native language in a snow-covered forest. The Russian soldier filming the events comments, "Look how many disposables there are," before
Disposables?
claiming that the
They are
soldiers
calling them
will be singing
disposables?
differently once they're deployed to the
First
front
they
line.
are
So
hiding them.
That's a
insulting.
callousness that can't be excused by the fog of war. and it seems
Now
to
I
come
don't
right
want
from the
Indians
top.
to go there.
The Russian soldiers that Ukraine has captured reveal
Enough
patterns
racism
of
for us.
coercion, deception, and outright loathing of the very people that Putin is sending to fight his war. That's no way to boost morale. The saddest thing is that Putin isn't looking for high morale. He wants unquestioning loyalty in return for the money that Russia offers, with that loyalty extending to a Russian soldier being willing to die when he commands it.
My God.
Over 10,000 and counting either aren't willing or have been captured while trying. Many more are likely to follow if I Want to Live's claim that Ukraine captured more Russian soldiers in 2025 than in 2022 and 23 combined is anything to go by. That's another pattern. More of Russia's soldiers are ending up in Ukraine's custody, suggesting more than ever before are willing to raise the white flag to escape the horrors to which Putin subjects them. So we've seen the figures, and we know that Russian soldiers are surrendering at an incredible rate. But what does all of this mean
when
for
will it
Ukraine?
end?
Exactly.
For one, every surrendering soldier amounts to the loss of somebody that Putin is paying handsomely and is
Yeah.
relying upon to take part in assaults on Ukraine's defences. Interfax reports the largest numbers of Russian prisoners have been captured in the Pokrovsk and Bakhmut district of the Donetsk region,
Bakhmut.
along with the Kursk region and the Pololi district of Zaporizhia.
Donetsk.
These are all regions where Russia has sustained massive losses in its fight against Ukraine, and surrendering soldiers have only exacerbated those losses by weakening the assaults that Russia launches. There's another interesting point here. Russia is the force that is on the offensive in Ukraine.
Okay.
That's an obvious statement, but it
Offensive,
casts
okay.
into an even harsher light Ukraine's revelation that it's now capturing more of Russia's soldiers than Russia is capturing Ukraine's troops. That shouldn't be happening. It's typically the offensive force that makes the majority of captures, because that force is supposed to be working to take territory and
But they're
encircle
not
troops.
able to.
Russia's maneuvers are so poor that its soldiers consistently fail to isolate Ukraine's defensive forces. Often the attacking Russians get caught in traps of Ukraine's design or establish weak footholds that end up being encircled themselves, leading to captures. Ukraine also gains leverage from this volume of Russian surrenders. It knows that very well, which is why I Want to Live exists in the first place. The Irregular Warfare Initiative even goes so far as to call that campaign a form of psychological warfare for the modern era.
And that's very
By
smart.
replacing
from them.
traditional PSYOP or psychological operations methods with mobile technology and social media, Ukraine can now reach enemy soldiers through smartphones in their hands, aiming to stoke fear,
Wow.
spread confusion, and encourage surrender, the
Just
outlet
through their
says.
phones.
In other words, Ukraine is using technology to plant the seeds of the idea of surrendering in Russian heads that may not have previously realised
Everybody
that
might be
surrender was
thinking,
an
like, I
option,
can get out
never
easily
mind one that
if
can
I
see them
join
treated
them.
better than they're treated by their own officers and commanders. On the leverage front, capturing as many Russian soldiers as possible also means that Ukraine can bring back large numbers of its own troops when prisoner exchanges happen.
Oh,
Such
yes.
was the case in January 2024, when Ukraine was able to bring 230 of its captured soldiers home in exchange for 248.
But one thing I don't understand about this exchange, like why would a soldier of Russia go to Ukraine to say that I want to live, and then he wants to come back to Russia?
Russia,
He would
yeah,
never want to
yeah.
come back, because if he comes
Exactly.
back, then the Russians will be angry at him and they will either force him back into
Back.
the war or they will throw him out.
Actually,
POWs
it's
who
a
will return to
question.
Russia.
What? Why?
There's also information to consider. Every captured or surrendering Russian soldier knows something. Ukraine can
Information
learn
is
about the
important.
intricacies or lack thereof of Russian training methods from the rank and file troops that it's capturing. It might also learn about supply shortages in the sectors from which the soldiers were captured, or how large basic training classes were, both of which can give Ukraine an idea of what it can expect from Russia's future assaults. On the rarer occasions that an officer is taken as a POW, Ukraine could even learn about entire operations that it can then counter.
Oh, yes. I Want to Live is a very smart program from Ukraine, because it makes sure that Russian soldiers are thinking like, okay, like rather than dying, I can just say to them that I want to live and I can surrender myself, and because of that I will not have to fight this war, and the war which Russian people do not like agree to. Most of them feel like this is a war by Putin and of Putin. It is not by us. Like, we don't want Ukraine or its land. They were very, very happy with Russia, but it was Putin who thought that, okay, it's good time to attack Ukraine. So I feel this is a very, very smart move from Ukraine.
Exactly, it's a very smart move. But on the other hand, I would like to say that the way that they were asking the like, for example, you can say, and also the other unemployed people, like they lure them into getting more money, and they have literally no option left. Either they have to go to the war, and I also have a question about the program, that people who are going to war, they already know that whatever happen, and suddenly they can die and anything can happen. So why on the first choice they are choosing to go?
I don't know why, but it is like either they don't have much of a choice. Russia is kind of forcing them that accept it, or otherwise we might do something to you or your family.
Maybe, yes,
Yeah.
it can be.
So what do you guys think about it? Do let us know in the comment section below. So do like, share, and
And subscribe to the channel.
bye.
Bye.